Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Leadership Void podcast. I'm Enrique with my co-host Vince to bring you the best in our veteran, military spouse, and first responder community. And Vince will introduce today's guest.
Thanks, Enrique. Yes, absolutely. We have with us Robert Gully, Director of Business Development at Blue Cord Professional Services here in our backyard in Orlando, Florida. We have Robert here honoring our United States Army's 247th birthday. So, Robert, you're a special guest for the Army. Hoorah! Tell us a little bit about you.
Hey, gentlemen. Thank you very much, Enrique and Vince, for having me on. So first of all, I'm new to Orlando and I'm new to the industry of business development and also to professional services, specifically in construction. But I'm really glad that in transitioning, I had a place to land in the civilian world, a place as veteran friendly as Blue Cord, because as service disabled veteran-owned small business that was started by my dear friend Michael Waldrop, and he and I met in the Panjwai Valley in Afghanistan in 2006, and it's been a really supportive environment for me to learn something new and to transition my leadership and management mindset and the discipline I learned in the Army to transition it to something that's important in the civilian world, because you can't be a soldier forever. About myself, I was born in Northern California. I grew up in the mountains in a small town. I didn't see much opportunity happening when I was in high school. And I thought, well, if I join the Army, I could at least get some money for college and see the world, have some adventure. And next thing you know, 30 years later, I was a retired Special Forces major with a master's degree and had seen the world and had been there and done that. And so I'm not trying to say I'm all that in a bag of chips. I'm just saying I was along for the ride with a lot of wonderful people and a lot of amazing historical events.
Amazing. And Special Forces folks, I don't know if you know, but we have a huge heart for what they do. All the forces do. And so thank you, Robert, for all that you did during your time of service. Because, you just mentioned where you met Michael. It was not Walmart, right? So you guys were taking care of business, and we really appreciate that. And as we celebrate the Army's birthday, what pivotal leadership moments did you learn the most from in your evolution in the Army?
Oh, goodness. I think I'm probably going to start off heavy then. I think the most pivotal point in my career was probably October 12th of 2006 in Afghanistan. And during a night mission with helicopter insertion, my second in command, Chief Warrant Officer 2, Scott Dyer, was killed in action. And the reason this was so pivotal for me is the Special Forces team is a very small thing. I mean, ideally we're 12 men, and sometimes we can't even make muster on 12 or 9 or 10. But the interesting thing is Scott, as a warrant officer, had a lot of experience. And when I came to the team as a new officer, I had been in Special Forces when I was enlisted, but being a leader in Special Forces is kind of different. It's kind of being among Olympians. You spend every day trying to be, you're not going to be the best in a group of people like that. You try every day to not be the guy on the team who's a liability. So even as a leader, and leading those type of people is very difficult because they're all such go-getters. And you can't, I used to tell people, you can't command their love. You have to earn it. And you have to earn it every day. And Scott was that kind of leader as the team warrant. And I leaned on him a lot, because I could bounce my ideas off him. And his leadership was wonderful, and it supported me as the commander. When he was gone, I mean, there's a whole litany of things that happens when someone you know well is taken from you. But I didn't have the luxury to sit around and grieve necessarily. I was certainly full of grief, but we had another focus. I had 9 other guys to look after and a mission to accomplish. And with him gone, I immediately felt a fear of like, how can I do this when I've lost my right arm as a commander? And pivotal moment because it made me search inside myself to be at least carry his voice in my head or continue on regardless, because we didn't accompany him back to Arlington or take part in his services. We didn't have the luxury. It was a very volatile environment, and we were the lead element in that environment. So I had to dig deep, and it wasn't just the regular dig deep, like, oh, I'm in Army school, I gotta tough it out on this next PT test because I might get honor grad or some garbage like that. It was, my goodness, people depend on me, and this is life and death, and I need to step up. I mean, I don't think I was slouching at all before he was gone, but he was reassurance for me. And I had to go without him until he could be replaced by yet another dynamic warrant officer, but that takes time. So pivotal for introspection, looking inside myself and going, and not just on strength, but emotionally and mentally, okay, we got to keep going. And how do I help the guys keep going? And that's what I'd wrap up that as my pivotal moment. It was an indelible mark on my soul, and I will carry that day forever.
Absolutely, Robert. You know, October 12th, definitely in your heart. You lost your right arm, as you mentioned. You know, Scott, you honoring his legacy as you continue on. And you mentioned you all had the physical fitness, but you mentioned 2 great opportunities that are composed of a leader, the mental and the emotional state. So great to hear you definitely took an introspective look, deep dive, and the instrumental component that Scott was for you. So share with us any pearls of wisdom or anyone else that impacted you while you served in the Army.
Well, there's certainly a huge amount of people who impact me in the Army, and there's so many. There's been so many times throughout my career that there was someone who said something or provided me inspiration. I think my first platoon sergeant when I was an infantry private in West Germany, and we ended up being out on the border when the wall came down. It was very interesting. My first platoon sergeant, then he was Sergeant First Class Ollie Wooden. I believe he retired as a command sergeant major. I'm not certain. I lost touch with him. That guy was iron. He scared the hell out of me. But he was this awesome guy. I mean, I couldn't tell you his presence was very large and larger than life. And he made a good impression on me of what a leader should do, because that platoon sergeant would be in the first sergeant's office at parade rest, having a shouting match with the first sergeant over to protect his guys. He was fearless. He was respectful, and he knew his place. But if he had something he felt was right, he'd take it to bat, and he was not worried about rank. As people, I mean, there's, we could do like 3 days of this. But I have lots and lots of pearls of wisdom. One that sticks with me quite frequently is people often get wrapped up in technology and equipment and devices, weapons, and how special they are, or even an individual task. Snipers are so great, or whatever. But I learned something a long time ago, and that is the real power is people. The real power is those people and how they interact and how they communicate and how they enable each other. Because we all watch movies and stuff when we were kids, Rambo and stuff, where this one guy can do all this stuff. It's not like that. The real world isn't like that. You're not going to last very long if you don't have support mechanisms or people who are right there with you, coordinating with you, working towards the same objectives with you. One guy with a rifle is an easy target. A fire team that's well rehearsed and coordinated and knows what each other is going to be doing is a deadly thing. Special rockets or things like that, that's all well and good. It might be very advantageous to have such equipment. But if you have willpower and you have resolve and you have training, especially together and a team that's communicating, and I don't just mean tactically, it's not just, oh, we know our job, but connecting on a physical level. Sure, there's separation between ranks or positions and things, but you've got to have a relationship with each other, or at least understand what your relationship is, in case there's someone that you just don't get along with, but you've got to perform missions with them in the real world, and personally you'd rather not be around them. That stuff has to be dealt with as well. If you understand that, you have the key to everything. The power, real power, is people.
Yeah, I echo that. No leader can execute without the people. I mean, so if you talking about leadership in its entirety, it's summed up by people, and I've seen often these movies, and the ability to wave a hand and see a group of people just go and take something. You're like, wow, that's true power right there. Not the fact that the person waved their hand, but the fact that they have at a beck and call a group of folks to take care of this and that. There's a lot that has changed over the years. I was just talking about how much has changed in the last 5 years since I was retired in the military. They're not even wearing the same uniforms that that I was wearing. So going back as you reflect, and not only on the past but the future of the force, what are your thoughts regarding the future of the U.S. Army?
Well, I'd like to think that I'm slightly in tune with some of the changes because two of my sons are both sergeants in the Army. One's at 11 Bravo Airborne Infantry Jump Master in Alaska, and the other one's a Sergeant uh, Intelligence, what do you call them? Guys in Wiesbaden. And so I hear their complaints. They complain to me a lot, and I'm like, what? But and then my youngest daughter leaves for the Air Force this summer. She just graduated high school, so I think I'm in tune, and I hear a lot of grumpiness sometimes from the old men, us, that saying, "Oh, the Army's doing this. Oh, Army's that's stupid. You shouldn't do this. Shouldn't do that." And I got to thinking, I actually put some thought into it, and you know, it's not really our place. It's our place to maybe give some advice if it's appropriate. But it's not really our place to criticize the Army as a whole. I really think that instead we should trust what we've done. And what I mean by that is, okay, so all the leadership in the Army right now was trained by us. All the young people in the Army right now are our sons and daughters. So let's trust our sons and daughters and the people we trained to be leaders. Let's trust them and give them a little bit of room to maneuver and create the future, because we don't really know what the future is going to be like. Every time I think I know what's going on, another decade's gone by, and I realize how much I didn't actually understand what just happened. So I think we should give them a little breathing room. The politics stuff, hey, that's whatever. That stuff's always going to exist. There was dumb stuff in the 70s. There was dumb stuff in the 80s. I tell you, when I first joined the Army as a private, all the political things that seemed to me to impact our life, and I mean like internal politics, like company level politics, I hated it. It was horrible. It was, but I didn't really understand. And looking back, I can see, okay, it was okay. So I recommend we give those young people and young leaders some breathing space. And after all, we made them. trust that they're going to do the right thing. And there'll be some things that are messed up, but the three of us didn't do everything perfect when we were in the service either. Well, maybe you guys did, but I didn't.
No, I didn't either, Robert. We all learn by our failures and mistakes. But thank you for sharing a little bit about, we made the future, and the future is who they are today. And your kids, all three of them, for joining Army and Air Force. Do you see the future of the Army Air Force joining back? It's 247 years already. Do you see that coming together? And also, any last thoughts of any other pearls of wisdoms that you had that you'd like to share with our audience?
I couldn't imagine the Army and Air Force getting together. They're such different cultures, and they're such different missions, and they're different pots of money and things like that. I don't think it would be useful because it'd be harder to manage, I imagine. And our command structure is a little hard to work with as it is right now, because you've got the combatant commands, but you also have the special commands of JSOC and SOCOM and things like that. So commands that work under other commands and have jurisdiction or spend money in different ways. I don't know. I think it's confusing enough as it is. We put them back together, it'd blow everyone's minds. More pearls. I got my pocket is full of pearls. I'm very rich in experience, not because I'm super great, but because I made it. I lived, and I remembered. I learned. I listened. I've always sought knowledge and self-improvement, but more importantly, I've sought how to apply that. And I've been very lucky to have been able to mentor quite a few younger service members or people who are wanting to join the military. And I'm honored to be able to do that, and to be able to make some of my experience actually still have value, and not just on a tactical sense or a thing, because all those things change. But what doesn't change is lessons learned that apply in life that can be used. I guess now I have to find a pearl. That was kind of like an introduction. Hey, I've got this great pearl. I mean, it's so amazing. I definitely, one thing that's sustained me for quite a long time is I created watchwords for myself probably when I was a young squad leader in the infantry before I went to special forces. And what I mean by watchwords, we have all sorts of stuff to help you remember things in the Army acronyms and what have you. But I thought, if I could make just like 3 words, at the time I started with 2 words, if I could just make like 2 words that I can say to myself and apply in any situation, whether it's military or personal, just in life for myself, a kind of stoicism, a way to reflect and make sense of things that are confusing, or help give you a morale boost when times are tough. And I was saying, well, I'll just pick some words, and those can be my words. And so I thought a lot about it. I ended up picking 3 words, and I started off with the first 2 was strong, and the next one was smart. And I figured, if I can relate those words to any situation I'm in or anything I'm trying to accomplish as my reminders, it can help keep me focused and on track. Kind of like a, not really a mission statement, but hey, remember your guiding light. In order to achieve, you need to be strong and smart. Is this strong? Is this smart? Am I hurting right now and I need to be stronger, or am I hurting right now and I need to be smarter? And then a few years later, I added the 3rd word, which it doesn't sound very military. The 3rd word was kind. And like I said, it doesn't sound military. Hey, we're out here to kill people. It's our job. Well, I found it worked because in being kind, it relates to relationships, and the interrelationships on the team with other military members, with people you're working with. I don't really mean kind to the enemy. That's not what I'm saying. But to remember that if it's not important, let it go. If it's not necessary to be harsh to someone, don't. Uh, is this the time to chew ass and correct things, or is this the time to be like, hey, look, you need to make better decisions next time. Move out, draw fire. I think maybe that one's the hardest one for me to explain to y'all, but it works for me. So strong, smart, and kind. And what's kind of interesting is I ended up telling those words to my kids when they were really little. And it just because I was relating my experiences. And my kids remember those to this day. And I think they actually use them as guide words for themselves as well. And because it applies to life. It's not just the army, it's not just the military. Is this the smart way? Is this the strong way? Is this the kind way? What's the balance that I need to achieve here? So it's just a little wordplay theory that has sustained me and provided me a little comfort on cold and rainy nights in a swamp or what have you, if I'm remembering those three words and how they apply to me, who I am as a person, and to what I'm involved with and the people around me.
Well, those are three powerful words when you talk about leadership and just the trajectory of someone's life. Yeah, I remember, my company commanders telling me, "Oh, you're gonna be smart, or you're gonna be strong today," right? And uh, it was always
Yeah, it's the balance.
some push-ups were behind this thing. But
Yeah, what would be the perfect soldier? Strong Ranger or Smart Ranger? Well, how about Smart Strong Ranger if he's out there?
right. No, the ability to be either one of those at any given time, it's shows fluidity and leadership, and also the ability to adjust to the current situation. And that's the true tactic of a leader. Can you adjust to what is needed at the time? And I love that you threw in kind, because a lot of people would not, and there's a lot of people that frown on the kind piece, but we are humans. We are human folks, and especially out here post service and even in service, I use kindness as a tool to get things done. Now, there's a lot of young men and women entering the military now. So, what advice would you give those particular people that are going in now?
Maintain a positive outlook on your current situation, because it's very easy to fall in with the naysayers and just complain all the time. I mean, I know it's a soldier's prerogative to be able to complain. If you're not complaining, then something's wrong. But I don't necessarily mean the complaining piece. What I mean is your outlook on it. So if you remember that if you have leadership that you don't get along with or you don't like them, well, do your job and remember, soon either you or they is PCSing or moving to a different position. If you have a duty station that you don't like or whatever, find the things that can make it worthwhile to you. You're stationed in South Dakota and find something, become a a vlogger or something. I don't know. There's something everywhere. There's something good everywhere, and always try to grow your mind while you're there. So a positive outlook in every situation. I mean, even if it was Iraq in 2005 when it was a meat grinder, if you can find something positive, it'll carry you through.
No, absolutely. Great pearls of wisdom. Great advice for our entering forces. Have that positive mindset and understand to grow yourself. And I would throw the last word that you added, be kind to yourself, right? Be kind to yourself in your journey, because it will last only a few moments. It's not going to be always rain, but rain is needed too every once in a while to make you grow strong and smart. So great advice, great opportunities to speak to you, Robert. And I would love to know, and our audience would love to know, how to contact you or Blue Cord Professional Services.
Well, our website is bluecord.com, and I'm also on LinkedIn. I'm sure if you search Robert Gully, I'll come up on, if you see the ones with Blue Cord, that's me. I welcome any correspondence as well, any questions. I mean, you can send hate messages too. I don't mind, because I can delete them or frame them. If I get a really good one, I'll frame it. So that's a challenge to internet trolls, I suppose. And I definitely, I've found myself wanting to be more and more in a position of giving back. And so I remain open to any contact whatsoever.
Well, great, folks. We're going to have that as part of the show notes and video so you can get a hold of Robert. Um, I would take it a little light on the hate mail. But he's not afraid. I'm sure he's seen it once or twice. But if you want to get a hold of the Leadership Void podcast, the Leadership Void at gmail.com is where you'll send that email. Anything you want to hear specifically with leadership or any guests that you would like to have on the show, Vince and I will curate that and see what we can do. But Robert, it's been a great time talking to you. Happy to celebrate the Army's birthday with you, and so happy that you're part of Blue Cord now.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Yeah, happy birthday to the Army. I'm going to be at the AUSA Army Ball, and it's going to be wonderful. So I really appreciate it, and my hat's off to you gentlemen and all our service members, men and women around the world who still keep working when the rest of us are sitting here drinking beer.
Absolutely, definitely so. But again, like, echo the fact that it is your birthday. So happy birthday, Army, to you and Robert for being our guest. A couple other things. We're sponsored by Home Team Mortgage. This show and other shows are sponsored by Home Team Mortgage. Thank you for that. We do a couple other things. We have our radio check, our time to check in our brothers and sisters in arms and our first responders on the 1st and the 15th at 1900 hours, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard on LinkedIn Live. Join us on the 1st and the 15th, please, there. And lastly, we're very close. We're like this close to our subscription drive to hit our next number. Please like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, The Leadership Void. Help us get there. You enter into a drawing to win this wonderful big book by Scott McGregor. It's called Standing O, the Salute Edition. So please, it's autographed. You will not be remiss by entering, subscribe, and like. So, but today, 247 years, Robert Gully, our guest, doing some wonderful things. He wants us to be smart. He wants us to be strong and kind. And remember, listen, and always learn. Thank you, Robert. Happy birthday, Army. Have a great day.